All right. This meeting will come to order. Madam Recorder, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Venable.
Yes.
Alderwoman Madison.
Here.
Vice Mayor Key.
Here.
Alderwoman Reds.
Here.
Alderman Adams.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Recorder. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand with me for prayer and join me? And then following that, our Police Chief Greg Depew will lead the pledge. Almighty God, who has given us the good land for our heritage, we humbly beseech Thee that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of Thy favor and glad to do Thy will. Bless our land with honorable ministry, sound learning, and pure manners. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil way. Defend our liberties, and fashion unto one united people the multitude brought hither out of many kindreds and tongues. Endow with Thy spirit of wisdom those whom in Thy name we entrust the authority of government, that they may be just, and there be peace at home. And that though obedience to Thy law, we may show forth Thy praise among the nations of the earth. In the time of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness. And in the day of trouble, suffer not our trust in Thee to fail. All of which we ask in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Chief. You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to recognize all the dignitaries that are sitting out here in front of me. Thank you for coming tonight. Really appreciate it. We appreciate your attendance, and I know I speak for the board for that. We'll move on into the business of the meeting. First item on the agenda is the discussion and action of the meeting minutes for November 1st and January 3rd, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I did distribute these minutes to you. Are there any questions, corrections of the recordings?
Okay, the ones for November the 1st are still the same as before then?
Yes, ma'am. We did review the minutes and actually listen to the recording again. I did submit that copy to you. According to Section 8 of our charter, at some point we must approve a set of minutes for the month of November.
But I don't agree with that.
Okay, while we have time and not a large agenda, would y'all like to go through and just mark through what you do not approve of so that we can determine a product that you will approve of?
Well, for me, the part about the city manager.
Okay.
For the funds, we thought that we couldn't afford one, and then we found out that we could.
So,
that's the problem I have.
Vice Mayor, was this improperly recorded? Or, like I say, we can work through this thing if you'd like. Anybody would like. Do you feel like that this was improperly recorded?
Yes.
Okay, please.
No, it was recorded as what you said. It just wasn't true that I did, because we found out that we did have money when we thought we didn't.
Well,
that's when M-Test was here and said that we could afford a city manager. That's my problem with that.
All we're doing is affirming that what the municipal clerk heard on the audio is transferred here.
Right.
We're not saying whether we agree or disagree. Well, we're just saying what was on that recording.
I understand what you're saying. Well, then
is on here.
That will be documented then, because I want it to go is I'm not agreeing to something that I found out that isn't true. Because, see, we thought we didn't have any money. And then we found out that we do have money.
I think the minutes are actually from like what we actually said.
What was said.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying.
It was different
but
than
I wanted
what they
to go
said,
on
but he
record.
did say that.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
but I wanted to go on record
Yeah.
what I said, you know.
So, Vice
Because
Mayor,
that
then,
caused a big confusion.
right, I affirm you go, and if you'd like to do that right now,
Mm-hmm.
during this particular meeting, the Vice Mayor is going on record saying that, please state for the record your feelings about these meetings so that we can have it recorded.
Okay. What I say is, when we had this meeting, we was told, per se, that we really couldn't afford a city manager, per se. Okay. And then we found out that that was not true. So let that go on record.
So that statement has now been placed in a record and will be recorded
Okay.
in this meeting
Okay.
by the municipal clerk.
Okay.
So with that said, the minutes for November 1st are true and factual to the recording. The Vice Mayor has went on record during this meeting and made a public statement. Are we inclined to approve these minutes as recorded?
I'll motion to approve minutes.
Motion to approve by Alderman Adams.
The second.
Second by Alderwoman Moretz. Is there any further discussion? Madam Recorder, take a vote, please.
Alderwoman Venable,
Yes.
Alderwoman Madison,
No.
Vice Mayor Key,
Yes.
Alderwoman Moretz,
Yes.
Alderman Adams.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Please also, and next, review the minutes of January 3rd, 2023. Members of the board, are there any additions or corrections to these minutes? Hearing and seeing none, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Vice Mayor Keith.
I'll second it.
Second by Alderwoman Venable. Madam Recorder, take a vote, please.
Alderwoman Venable,
Yes.
Alderwoman Madison,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Key,
Yes.
Alderwoman Moretz,
Yes.
Alderman Adams.
I'll abstain for voting since I wasn't here.
Thank you. Motion passes by majority. Thank you, fellow members of the board, for approving these minutes. They will be placed in record and shared with the public as in accordance with Section 8 of our charter. Next item on the agenda is public comments. As a point of personal pleasure, I'd like to ask Mr. Calvin Clifton of Mattern and Craig to come up and brief the board on the current status of projects.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for allowing me to speak tonight. I just want to give you an update on some of the projects you've been seeing around town and some things we're working on going forward. First of all, the Main Street water line is 99% complete. We feel like there's probably a little cleanup to do. The contractor will be taking care of those items, but we're really excited to have that project complete. The garage pump station force main is about 90% complete. Equipment installations are ongoing, and we've got an engineering amendment that we need to get signed and sent back to rural development. The Railroad Street sewer is getting ready to begin. The contractor has flagging with the railroad scheduled for next week. That's a safety precaution that the railroad requires, and they have to be paid to have people out there. So the contractor doesn't expect it to take but a couple of days to complete. So that should go smoothly, and we've got an engineering amendment on that one to get signed and returned to rural development as well. The American Rescue Plan Act applications, we refer to those as ARPA funds. 2 grant applications were filed to the Development District. One for the water treatment plant improvements in the amount of just over $800,000, and that project, that grant was awarded to the town. So we're excited about that one. And then there was another grant application made that was roughly $400,000, and we haven't got word on that yet. But TDEC got so many applications across the state that they're having to go through them in waves. So they announced the first wave, and the water treatment plant was in that. So we fully expect that the sewer line replacements will be awarded as well. It may be later in the spring before we get the word on that, but very excited about those ARPA grant applications. There's also a application filed through TDEC again with the development district to complete a asset management plan for both the water and sewer systems. And that's basically taking your systems and identifying what's out there, the pipe, the hydrants, the plant, and so on, and then determine the state of the condition of those assets and their life expectancy. So we have a path forward. We know this needs to be replaced in 5 years, and once this pipe's replaced, we know it has a life expectancy of 50 years or 100 years. So the good thing about this one is a special pot of money out there that it's 100% grant money. There's no match required. So there's no word on that yet, but we're very optimistic. And then, of course, the town received a multimodal access grant, and it's our understanding that the town's elected to go with TDOT to
That is correct.
to design and manage that. So, of course, we're available to help coordinate any of that. But that's kind of an overview. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those.
Oh, sir. Thank you,
you
Mr.
all
Lipton,
so
for your
much. And
support.
again, we appreciate the relationship we have with the town.
Thank you.
All right. Now we'll begin with the general public comments. Would anyone in the audience like to come to the podium and speak? Mr. Malone, you are recognized. Please state your name and address for the record.
Since Julie's not back here now to do it, I thought I'd better come up and so you'd have somebody come up.
Okay. Welcome.
But what I want to do is personally thank the city and the board for the donation to the museum that we did receive it. And it's like getting a check without writing, when he gives you one early, But it's been, we've used it or using it for our liability insurance and projects like that. And we haven't set up our donor level yet thing, but we'll have different levels. And this money that you give will go in that whatever level that does, and if we get additional money in years to come, then it'll be raised up until in those levels and stuff. So I just want to let you know that, and it's still the invitation anytime y'all can feel that you can come and visit and stuff, and got a lot of stuff on the works. Hopefully we can put it all together, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. Anyone else? Very good. Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to the next discussion and action item, and that is the annual external audit report from Rutherford Moss. Mr. Curtis, you have the floor, sir.
All right, thank you. Apologize. We come real close to making it on the 3rd, but we decided that it was going to be too close and we didn't want to rush things. So my apologies, but we did get this filed with the state, so we're all good there. I'm going to start at the back because, it's come such a long way over the years. At the very back, the very last page, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, page 56. We have no prior audit findings, no compliance to prior audit findings in the prior years, in the current year. All things look as though they should. I can tell you it was not this way 5 years ago or 6 years. We've been doing this a while, 5 or 6 years, but I can't tell you what kind of improvement has occurred over this time. I think originally we were in the 20-something findings down to none. So it's worth at least pointing that out. A couple of years in a row. Now I'll go back to the beginning. I wanted to get the good stuff first. In the beginning, I think it's on pages 4 and 5, you will find our opinion. Now, there's a slight change in the way that opinion reads, but it is worded as it's unmodified, which is, as I try to tell people, that's a clean opinion. That means that we believe these financial statements do represent what occurred and has occurred in the municipality in the past year. So we didn't have any reason to make any drastic changes. When you start looking at these financial statements, if you look at page 14, if I've got my eyesight going, you will see that at the end of the year, you have a total net position of $7.6 million. Of that, approximately $3 million of that is unrestricted. And 2.4 of that is unrestricted for the general fund. So I want to point out a couple things that tells you what you really have available. You have some cash, and I didn't verify this, but by grannies, it's pretty close. Your unrestricted balance ties almost exactly with your cash available. So that's usually the way it works out, but it's never usually that close. It's within $50,000. On page 15, you will see that during the year, your change in net position was $488,000. If you were a business, you would say that you had $488,000 worth of profit. Obviously, you're not a business, but this on page 15, this is presenting it as if you were. Then you go to page 16, which is the funds, which is the way you're used to seeing all the items you get here. This is how you would track it for your budget purposes and stuff. And you will see that on your fund balance side, you have, again, $2.3 million of unrestricted and $2.3 million worth of cash and assets available. At the end of the day, I believe that is in a good position. And if you were to look at pages, well, I think page 18 is probably the best thing to look at. When you're looking at your general funds, or your revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, for your general fund, you show a $325,000 increase. For your other governmental funds, a slight loss of $1,600. So the net of $323,000. And for curiosity's sake, I always like looking at proprietary funds. I went ahead and looked at your water and sewer fund and your solid waste fund to get a good idea of where those stood at the end of the year. And as far as operating revenue goes on water sewer, you're at about $921,000, and your operating expenses are $923,000. So you lost a little bit on water and sewer. Now that's before interest, which you do have interest expense on that, which was $87,000. However, you did have some grant revenue of $112,000. So at the end of the day, you do show a positive change in net position, but I did want to point that out. I know that the state, when they get concerned, it's always about that operating income. So that's if they say something, it'll be, hey, you're getting pretty close. Keep that in mind. But on solid waste, it was right where you would, it's right at $800. I don't know how you budget for zero and you got $800. That's about as close as you can get to a budget line item. So I thought that was very good. But that's kind of the main highlights. If you get, like I always say, if you get insomnia and you just can't go to sleep, you're welcome to read all these wonderful notes back here about the pension plans and all this other stuff. But I don't even like reading them, and I have to help put them together. But I think that covers the big changes during the current year. The good news is that you continue to pay down your debt. You continue to work in a positive manner in all things that I feel like I should tell you that I think you're doing a good job. So if you have any questions or whatever, I'll be glad to answer them. You will find in here that you did get several grants, and there is a schedule in here for that, and I'm trying to find the page number right now. I apologize. I did not mark it. If you wanted to see all of your grants, it is on page 50. And you will see you have some federal grants and some state awards for the previous year, with federal awards of $247,000 and state awards of approximately $40,000, just to help you understand what was going on there. So that's kind of the main points I wanted to go over, because I like getting the good news out first. But I will entertain any questions, comments, as long as they're not too bad.
When you say unrestricted, what exactly do you mean?
That means that there is no other purpose that they must be spent for.
Okay, that's what I thought. You can kind of use it.
Yep. For example, whatever you've got infrastructure, you also have debt against that. The difference between those two is a fund balance,
Right.
a net position, but you can't spend that. You've already spent it. So that's not unrestricted. You'll see that as investment in fixed assets.
Okay.
So that's really what that is. Unrestricted means that it is your purview how you want to spend it.
You want to spend it. I thought.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, Curtis, I'd just like to say a couple of things. When you enjoy a second audit with no findings, someone made that happen.
Yes, sir.
And, that credit goes to former Mayor Wells and the lady that's sitting over here to my right, Miss Sharon, in excellence in financial management. That's all we can say.
It doesn't happen by accident. I can assure you of that.
So would everyone join me in a hand? All right. Any further questions from Mr. Curtis?
Now, do you have a card?
I do, but it's in my vehicle.
Oh, okay.
I will bring one in.
Okay, bring me one, will you?
I will.
Well, thank you, and thank you from the board for an excellent job by your firm. I know I was here every single day that your folks are on site, and they're Trojans.
Oh, yeah.
They work like, I'm telling you, they work like, for the
They
lack of
come
a
in
better way to
with a
say it,
purpose.
Hebrew slaves. And they always do a wonderful job. We love our partnership with you.
Thank
We
you.
really do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Members of the board, you have heard the findings of the audit. Is there a motion to approve the findings of the audit?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alderman Adams.
I'll second it.
Second by Alderwoman Moretz. Madam Recorder, take a vote, please.
Alderwoman Venable,
Yes.
Alderwoman Madison,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Key,
Yes.
Alderwoman Moretz,
Yes.
Alderman Adams.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is my report. It will be brief. Very pleased very pleased with the performance of our departments. The Public Works Department is doing an excellent job in several areas, in a lot of wintertime activities. The water treatment plant is running great. Maintenance projects are going well. We're taking great care of our citizens on the streets. They're proactive. I can't say enough about the great job that they do. Chief Depew and his department is at full staff and full speed. They're training hard, attending training. They're ramping up. Lieutenant Watson has got Watson RMS by the horns. Lieutenant Watson has Watson RMS by the horns. And if I remember right, Chief, we'll be meeting with them on February 22nd for the initial meeting so that we can begin that train up and the integration into Watson. We're excited about that. Finance and administration, Sharon and her team are killing it as usual. Customer service is absolutely excellent. You just heard a no findings audit for the second year in a row. Sharon leads that effort, but the F&A team assists in that each and every day. It takes everybody to make this thing work. So kudos to, more especially this evening, to the finance administration team. And then finally, to our citizens. Our citizens, I think, are the proudest folks in the world to be from a little town. And I don't know about the rest of the board, but when I encounter them on the street or when I call them negative, there's not a whole lot of negativity. Everybody likes living in Bluff City. And I will mention a fact that came out today, that our median home price here in the town of Bluff City is maintaining a level far above other towns and municipalities in the region. We're staying at about $202,000 as an average price for homes in Bluff City. Guess what? What does that say? People want to live here and people want to move here. So we want to keep it that way. So I appreciate the opportunity that the citizens have given me to serve as mayor, but likewise I appreciate the opportunity that the board gives me to serve as our town's manager and leader each and every day. Thank y'all very much. Next item on the agenda is a report from our council, Mr. Fry.
The only report I have, Mayor, is that we collected about $2,500 in delinquent taxes this month.
Thank you, Mr. Fry. Next item on the agenda is discussion and action of our financial report for the month. Ms. Sharon?
Fund balances as of December 31st, 2022. General fund, $2,450,630. Sanitation fund, $20,717. Special police fund, $4,807. Debt service fund, $135,039. Sinking fund, $3,094. Water sewer, $873,539. The total fund balance is $3,487,826.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. In hearing the financial report for the month, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alderman Adams.
I second it.
Second by Alderwoman Moretz. Is there any further discussion? Madam Recorder, take a vote, please.
Alderwoman Venable,
Yes.
Alderwoman Madison,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Key,
Yes.
Alderwoman Moretz,
Yes.
Alderman Adams.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is department reports. First up is Police and Public Safety, Chief Greg Depew.
Good evening, Mayor and board members and citizens.
Evening, Chief.
For the month of January, we had a total of 205 calls we responded to, had 273 citations issued, 120 warning citations issued, patrolled 6,045 miles, had 37 arrests, had 28 offense reports, 13 alarms, 8 accidents, 2 animal calls, 32 MSD reports, had 1 drug violation. As the mayor stated, we are full speed ahead on our Watson stuff. So thanks again to everybody who played a role in that. It's been very helpful with it. Lieutenant Watson has been putting forth a great effort to see that it's progressing at a faster pace than I even thought it would be. We're ahead of where I thought we would be, and it's very, very smooth. So all that stuff's going good. Training's going well. We're trying to get as much training as we possibly can. And everything is good. And as the mayor stated a minute ago, I want to congratulate the town, all you board members, everybody got something to do. Ms. Sharon, you, former Mayor Irene Wells, for the outstanding audit reports. That's good. I love to hear things like that. It makes us, so be very proud of that. I'm very proud of that. So congratulations to you all for that success doing that. And that's all I have, unless you have anything for me.
Any questions for the Chief? All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Yep.
Next up is our Public Works Supervisor, Alan Moultrie.
Good evening, Board, Mayor. When it comes down to the water plant is operating normally, pumping an average of 223,000 gallons per day. Our water tank level was at an average of 43.8 feet, with 60 feet being full. The water plant was down for a total of 3 days and 4 hours. The cause of the plant being down was due to high turbidity due to during the rain events that we had. We did get it back up. We had to do a couple backwashes in order to get that back operating, but we were able to do that. In the distribution system, we are continuing to repair leaks in our distribution system as they show themselves. Most of our findings remain to be those coming from old galvanized service lines. As we find these lines, we are trying to replace as much as we can in-house. When it comes down to the sewer department is operating well with there being no overflows in the month of January. We are still pulling excessive amounts of wipes from the pump stations at the Igloo pump station. We do ask that you refrain from flushing wipes because they get wrapped around the pump impellers and makes them less efficient, leading to a greater chance of overflows. When it comes to the streets department, the city workers are working hard maintaining the brush pickup throughout town. Our designated day for brush pickup is on Wednesdays and Thursdays, with work orders taking top priority. But overall, that's what we got going on in town. If you all have any questions, I'm open to field them for you all.
Alan, this is an excellent report. Thank you. This is the best report I've ever heard from you. This tells me exactly. Of course, I work with you every day.
Yeah.
If I were just sitting the board now, this is exactly what I would want to hear.
All right. Well,
I can't thank you enough, sir, for how
I do
great of a
thank
job
you
you
all.
Good job, Alan.
Thank
you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Next is Finance and Administration. Ms. Sharon, you have any comments for us this evening?
Just that the girls will be getting their new computers February 21st. They're
Yes, ma'am.
installed. And I'm having a conference with the software tomorrow to see how we get started on doing that once the hardware is taken. So they've got a lot of work ahead of them, all of us, getting something new.
It's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, it'll be a lot better.
Yeah, and I publicly want to thank Sharon. She's wrestling a bear right now, her and her department, with these hardened software upgrades, doing business simultaneously. It's not like we say we're shut down for 5 days. We're doing all of it at the same time. So that speaks volumes about her staff, her team. Thank you, Ms. Sharon. I do not see any county commissioners, so we'll move on from that and move on to the board comments. Julie?
Now, I was wondering, even when we have workshop meetings or, special call meetings, do we record them, or audio them?
We do the special calls, but we do not the workshops.
I personally think it would be a good idea to record everything because, like the confusion with earlier, like with Carol, and sometimes we don't remember things quite like, even though we said it ourselves. I mean, I've done that before, but then when I hear it, then I remember. And plus, that would be good for the citizens, if they say something and we didn't think they said it, or vice versa, we have something to back everybody up, not just us, but the citizens too.
Very good.
That's it. That's enough, ain't it?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sandra?
I want to thank everyone for coming.
Thank you very much, Sandra. All right, Vice Mayor, you have the floor.
Hello, everybody. I just want to take the time to thank everybody for coming. And I will continue to be a true, honest voice for the people. I will continue to stand up, and speak out for what is right. And if you need me, just phone call away. And also, I'd like to say, Mayor, you got a hand in it too. The audit. So, you was giving everybody credit. So I thank everybody, and you helped too. So.
appreciate
Give credit
that.
where it's due.
Thank
So
you,
I just
Vice
want to
Mayor.
thank everybody. Let's continue to stand together and work together and continue to move forward. We can do it.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't finished yet, Bluff City.
All right. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Those are good comments. Heather?
I just want everyone to have a safe trip home. Sorry, guys, I've been sick, so don't really have a whole lot of voice. But I hope everyone has a safe trip home and have a good night. And thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for being here while you're not feeling well,
not
Heather.
contagious,
We
so
really
that's okay.
appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate your
I
attendance.
really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured we were all going to be. I better make sure. So.
All right, Ben?
I just want to thank everybody for coming out. Appreciate you being involved and taking your time out of your days to listen to everything. We're doing great. I do apologize. I've missed the last couple of meetings. I had some family illness, and the special call was during work. I couldn't make it on that, but should be back to regular attendance from here on out.
All right. Good to see you always, Ben. Thank you a lot. Appreciate it. All right. We'll move on in. Is there any discussion on old business? Hearing none, is there any discussion on new business?
Well, there has been a citizen was talking about the comments. You know, the way we used to do it, where you'd have 3 minutes at the beginning and 3 minutes at the end.
Uh-huh.
If possible, that we could get back to maybe that.
That is entirely up to the board.
I actually think that would be a good idea
I
to
think
have one
so.
at the end after we've done discussed everything.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, I'd like to, can we bring that up for a vote?
I will have to do an
Yeah,
ordinance.
we'll have to
Okay.
change
Okay.
Like a
it.
draft ordinance,
Right.
you're wanting 3 at the beginning and 3 at the end?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, all right. And also what Julie was talking about too in new business about having it video, audio, because some of the citizens don't get to come to the meetings, and you know this is the people's house, and
Yep.
they need to know what's going on in their house. So it would be good if we could do that.
That is the decision of the board.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. I mean, I'm bored, so we can.
yeah.
Let me get some clarification on the ordinance. Where do you want to put the second?
Yeah, because in the code,
Be towards the
it
end.
just it's at the first.
It's
The
at the first.
TCA, it's right at the first where we have it now on the
Yeah,
agenda.
but the second one, where do you
So
want to put
where
that?
would we put
That
it?
would be towards the
I
end,
think
wouldn't
it would
Yeah.
be good right
Before
before our
the
comments.
board
Yeah.
comments.
So
Like it was before.
is it the board's desire then to place it in between the report of the county commissioners and your comments,
Yeah.
maybe?
That's kind of
Yeah,
what
that'd be
we did
fine.
before, I think.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
That was easy.
Yes.
Okay. Any other new business?
I don't understand these sheets here.
I was actually getting ready to ask
The
about
city
that.
of Bristol, Tennessee.
I'll speak to
I
that.
don't get it.
That I shared that for your information. It's just strictly for your information. What every year, the city of Bristol reevaluates the rate that we pay to pump sewer to them. It happens every single year. So what I did, I sent you last year's increase, and I sent you this year's. And that will not be effective until July. Just so you understand that we are going to be paying Bristol 6 point whatever percent more for pumping services than we are now. So that will come up in next year's budget.
Okay, well,
See
part
what
of the
I'm saying?
confusion is, okay, the city of Bristol, I don't ever remember hearing it in those terms. I've always heard Bristol Bluff City,
That's the
District.
water.
Water.
Yeah. Bristol Bluff City's the water.
just the water.
Just the water. That's our backup water source.
Okay,
This concerns us pumping sewer
just the sewer.
to the city of Bristol's treatment plant.
Okay.
So was just for the board's information. That's something.
I've just never seen it.
I know.
Or-
I'm trying to share
Or-
a lot more with you than you may have saw in the past.
Thank you.
That's a decision we'll make at budget. We'll appropriate the funds at budget time to cover that 6%. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just going to cost us more next year to pump sewer. And if you looked at the table, there's a table of basically the national average of raises. Actually, the city of Bristol did pretty right because some of the municipalities in the region went up 11 or 12%, and the city of Bristol went with the very lowest number, which was 6-point-whatever%. So that's something we'll tackle at budget time, which
Okay.
is coming up soon.
Thank you.
But we all bringing in money. It's a good thing. The new business, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Any other new business? Hearing and seeing none, I declare this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.